Alrighty, The Secret of Monkey Island for the Sega CD. Well, not exactly for the Sega CD. I played it on an emulator this time, happily. Uh, yeah, you know what? To be honest, this is a playthrough that has been a long time coming. If anybody who watches my channel, as of right now, uh, January 3rd, 2018, 9:48 p.m., there are 47 views on this original video, The Secret of Monkey Island on the Sega CD. I titled it Squatter's Not So Long Plays in retrospect. Yeah. So, you know what? I actually tried playing this game several years ago. Well, a couple now. I guess when it hits December, it'll be 3 of 2018 because it was December 23rd, 2015. And you know what? I would say that I tried pretty hard on it. I played an hour and 37 minutes of it. Uh, it certainly just wasn't a once-off. Kind of tried it out for a few minutes and didn't like the interface, and then just decided fuck it, right? But no, to be honest, the problem with this game, I'm just looking through the video that I posted several years ago at this point, and so the way I move the cursor will probably tell me if I played it on the actual console. It's possible to be. Let's go back to the beginning. Oh no, I only started recording when the game started, so I wouldn't be able to tell that. But no, yeah, this game it's as I said, it's been a long time coming, and I just for completion, for a completionist's sake, I just decided to complete it. I may go and play the subsequent releases, Monkey Island 2, 3, and some of the spin-offs. Probably not though. Uh, again, yeah, see, I'm using the controller in this video, so it could be an emulator. It could be the actual Sega CD. I'm not sure. Uh, Given the loading times, it's probably an emulator as well. This was probably at a time where I didn't have uh, the knowledge of how to use save states on Kega Fusion if it is on an emulator. I know that the Kega Fusion 3.6 and up has the ability to use save states on Sega CD games, though you got to be really careful to know which emulator you use for certain games, because for a game like this, for my full playthrough that I uploaded just recently, uh, I had to use Kega Fusion 3.6 and not 3.61 or 3.63 or 3.64, because those don't work with the mouse. It locks up if you try to use the mouse. And I gotta tell you, oh, just using the controller, whether it's a PC controller or a Genesis controller, it is terrible. It is absolutely terrible. Like, I remember the experience trying to get the red herring away from the seagull. Oh Christ, it was awful. I mean, again, it's like that's action for me. I hate action games. I hate platformers. That's platforming for me. So that was a colossal fucking oversight on that. Yeah, a point-and-click interface cannot be navigated with a controller unless there are a great deal of leniencies and nuances added to it. Like, uh, maybe you could press and hold a button and then just tap the cursor, and you can select around all the different context-sensitive areas or items on the screen at one point. And maybe you could select another button and you could just click through all of the on-screen options like talk, walk, look, and this sort of thing. But so yeah, The Secret of Monkey Island. It's not the first of its kind, certainly. Well, it's not certainly not the first of its kind to have a point-and-click interface, but it's a rather old SCUM game. That's the engine that LucasArts was using at the time. Uh, I'll just look it up for you now, just so I don't sound like a Philistine. SCUM engine. Script creation utility for Manic Mansion. Interesting. I haven't played that game and I'm not interested in it. But yeah, no. So again, it's the sort of game I like, to be honest. because it's very cinematic. I mean, everything happens before you on like a stage, and you have a big wide screen. And I'm happy that it takes up as much of the screen that it does compared to other games that populate almost the entire screen with the graphical user interface. So I would say I don't regret playing this game. I'm glad I did. It was actually very entertaining at parts. I think that the humor is very welcome. It's very well written. In this game, I would say utilizes meta humor and does it right. And that is a very difficult thing to do. A very, very difficult thing to do. And if you know me, which the vast majority of the planet doesn't, because compared to how many views I have, you'll know that I hate meta humor. I absolutely hate it. I especially hate it. It's in movies nowadays all over the place, and I know I've talked about this before in my other ramblings. But in this game, they actually do it properly, I would say. The game does not take itself seriously, which is a big, big part of having meta humor, self-referential humor, fourth wall humor. That's the main reason. That's the main way to make it work. Is you cannot take the subject matter seriously. The base subject matter of the game or the movie or the song or whatever the medium is, a book or whatever, you cannot take it seriously. Because my main complaint with a lot of things nowadays is that, especially in the newer Star Wars movies, right? I mean, I could only get through half an hour, as I've said before, of Episode 7 before turning it the fuck off because I'm just like, you know what, this is fucking stupid. Like, this is fucking stupid, right? I mean, as I said, I've probably said this before, but you could have had a perfectly filmed dramatic scene between, I don't know, fucking this Poe guy and this Kylo Ren dude. But he had to do the whole Ghostbusters 2016 thing and say, well, who talks first? Do you talk first or do I talk first? And it fucking ruins the entire scene. You know what? I mean, it's it it confuses me to no end because I mean, Episode 7 is pretty much exactly how I would imagine George Lucas would have made it, which subsequently sort of made this game LucasArts. I'm pretty sure he had no fucking involvement in it other than I didn't even see a special thanks to George Lucas in the credits. But again, it's like, I mean, if you just watch movies like Willow, like, I mean, Star Wars fans, like, they're just Star Wars fans. They don't watch any of George Lucas's other movies. Maybe like uh, Indiana Jones and that sort of fucking thing. But you know what? Like, just watch Willow. Because when I watched Willow, I realized, holy shit. Like, this is like in 1988 or something. And I thought, wow, this is almost like this is a template for episodes 1, 2, and 3. Mainly episode 1, right? I mean, you have the quirky characters, the goofy self-referential humor, and you have the comic relief characters in the form of those two French brownies, these little fucking fairy guys that dick around in the movie. I mean, it's like you could parallel them completely and exactly to Jar Jar Binks, right? I mean, they're exactly the same. They're little weird-looking eccentrics with funky accents and shit, and they're always for comic relief, and they're always goofy as fucking hell, right? And I think, holy shit, you guys didn't see this coming? Like, for the Star Wars movies? I mean, this is how George Lucas makes movies, guys. Like, come on, you know? So, and then I look at Episode 7, and it is so chock full of fucking bullshit, self-referential, fourth wall humor. And from what I've heard from friends, because you know what, I'd say fuck Star Wars nowadays. Like, I like the original 3 episodes, and you know what? The prequel trilogy is actually okay, if you ask me. I like Episode 1 the most. But, to be honest, like, fuck Episode 7. Fuck Rogue Squadron or whatever the fuck it is. I don't really care. And fuck Episode 8, because all I've completely I'm disillusioned with Star Wars at this point, and I've lost interest in it. And from what I've heard from people who are either entirely neutral on the subject or who even like Star Wars, they come back and they say there was a shit ton of that goofy ass meta self-referential humor, the fourth wall humor in Episode 8, pretty much in almost every scene. And I think, oh my fucking god, are you serious? That is so stupid, right? So, I mean, and I go off on this whole diatribe here because I say in this game, as I said, it does it right. It does it perfectly right, and I can't speak for the other games in the series, but if they're made by the same people and the same company, the same development team, same writers, I can only hope that they do conform to this standard. They do it right. They utilize meta humor properly in that they do not take anything in the game seriously. It's a very, very humorous game. It's a very, very, I would say, for the most part, well-written game. I like the characters in it. Like even just the regular people that you speak to are really, really entertaining to talk to, especially these three little pirate guys in the Scum bar, right? Nice little reference there, but I would say, yeah. I mean, this game is actually pretty fun to play, especially when I got the mouse interface to work with Kega Fusion. Um, again, I will say the reason why I stopped playing this way back in the day, God, 2 years, some years, way back in the day. Well, whatever. Uh, yeah, the reason why I stopped playing this is because of entirely of the save feature. Honestly, I expected a password to function exactly the same way that it would function in almost every single other game that a password has been utilized. I mean, I have a lot of TurboGrafx 16 turbo chip games. I mean, they utilize passwords, and while the passwords may have been comprehensive, they put you right back into the game where you were, right? Whether they were 16 characters or 20 characters or 30 characters, it didn't matter. They put you right back into the game where you were, like Neotopia. Not so in this game, and a lot of people know this. A lot of people have spoken about this. It's a little 4-digit password that only records big events throughout the game, like completing an entire chapter for the most part, or collecting a series of items, right? This is a game that you can play for half an hour, 45 minutes, even an hour, and not be able to save your progress any more than you would have when you just started to turn it on, right? So I learned that the hard way, so yeah, you know what? I could have actually been playing this on the Sega CD itself. I'm not entirely sure. I don't see any I don't see any diagnostic messages from the emulator. I don't see any loading lights or ready or access lights or anything like that. Again, the loading is pretty fast, so I'm just not sure at this point. Yeah, I'm just not sure, but yeah, to be honest, I tried hard at this game, but it seems like I wasn't following. Yeah, I definitely followed a walkthrough. I'll be honest. You know what? Again, I do not play games to challenge myself, and I'm sure everybody knows that. The few people that have watched my videos know that I do not challenge myself in order to play video games. I want to have a good, fun, happy time playing video games because if I don't read a walkthrough or use cheats or save states or whatever, I don't have a good time, right? So uh, I eliminate that aspect of pain from my life. So yeah, I'm periodically checking through the menu, seeing the password and everything, and I was just hoping that the password would work in the way that I thought it would, but it just wouldn't, so I wasn't following any kind of a walkthrough playing this game, so I was basically just dicking around. I don't know why I played it for so long, right? So, but no, a game like this, you would need a walkthrough for, to be honest. And if it was way back in the day, you'd need to call some kind of helpline, because, I mean, a lot of the times, like with some of the humor, it's the weird ways that you use items that or the weird way that you interpret things, like interpreting a scroll of parchment with dance moves on it to try and get to the sword master's place, or like getting a recipe, what sounds like a horrifically disgusting recipe for some disgusting swill that that you wouldn't even feed to anything living, and that actually concocts like a magic voodoo spell to teleport you over to Monkey Island and everything. So yeah, to me, it's like you need to have some kind of helping hand with a game like this, but again, those resources are available, so I utilized them whenever I did, and because of that, I had a pretty good time playing with it. Again, I play it for the story, I play it for the cinematic feel of it, and it really, really delivered on it. Again, it's a game that does the meta humor right, and I thrilled to it, to be honest. Me blindly following the walkthrough, I would say originally accidentally sank the my ship with all my crew members on it, but then I thought, hey, you know what? They were a bunch of fucking assholes, and they mutinied on me the second they got a chance, and they didn't give a shit about me, so I sent them to their watery graves. Fucking booyah, bitches. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Uh, again, it's like, as I said, I like cinematic games, and I mean, this game is pretty much all a cinema, to be honest. But I don't know, like, it's a really simplistic game, and the Sega CD doesn't really have a very good color palette. And I mean, you're looking at a lot of the visuals in the game, and it's all dark, it's all night, it's all like you're in a gray cobblestone village, and or you're in a dimly lit store and everything's brown, or that sort of thing. So, yeah, that's of course because of the limited color palette and the processor limitations at the time. It wasn't that much different on MS-DOS or any other platform, though. So, um, to be honest, I certainly would have appreciated voice dialogue. Uh, you know what? It would have been a novelty, and I guess I would have turned it on just to know what it sounded like. But again, it's like when it's good writing, you it's almost more immersive to just have writing that you read yourself, because you imagine the voices yourself, and just the way people speak, you can say, yeah, you know what, I could actually imagine a character like this saying this sort of thing. And so I guess I partially retract my statement, my previous statement. I wouldn't detest it if it was there, but uh, I guess more ambient noise, more music and everything, right, is what this game needed. Because the vast majority of screens are just entirely silent, right? I mean, it's like you could mute your television set or your computer while you're playing this, and you wouldn't miss out on anything, right? So, I mean, that's kind of disappointing, but I mean, they had some nice high quality audio in the settings where you're on the dock and everything, so that's nice. Uh, but yeah, it's like, to me, it just seems really, really stripped down. I mean, there's just not a lot in terms of audio to it, and I think that the music that they have at that point, the way they have it is, I would say it's very well done. It's very atmospheric, but to me, it's like just some gentle, soft background music that would change depending on the situation that you're in. Would have been a welcome change, to be honest. But no, yeah, like, again, oh, Jesus, God, I forgot about the fucking sword fighting quest. My God, you have to fight so many dozens of stinking pirates and ugly pirates and smelly pirates and shit like that. And again, it's like, as I was saying, it's an old kind of game, and even though it's not some of the oldest, it still doesn't, I don't know, these nuances were thought up of and worked into or worked out of games like this, like, pretty quickly, I would say. Uh, and I'm pretty surprised that a AAA game developer like LucasArts would have had this kind of bullshit in their game. Like, I mean, the quest to find the Sword Master, you need to learn 16 different. Actually, yeah, it'd be like 32 because there are 16 insults and 16 retorts that you need to learn by getting into the same monotonous fights with the four different stinking, ugly, smelly, stupid pirates that journey around Melee Island. And Melee Island trademark, may I remind you, trademark, you can't use that. So is Monkey Island. And they made sure to do that. Again, I'm not sure if that was it could have been a self-referential, fourth wall joke, but the fact that they trademarked it means that I guess they really wanted to keep it. They did because they made several other games. But so yeah, I mean, you would need to learn all these almost 3 dozen different uh, attacks and retorts, and you would fight the same monotonous guys over and over again. And you could fight, and these fights could take a minute or two at a time, especially with slow ass loading times, depending on the system you were using at the time. Uh, and you might not even get a single new uh, attack or retort, right? They'll just keep saying, oh, I'm rubber and you're glue, or boy, are you stupid, and that sort of thing. And I mean, it's like, oh, to be a great sword fighter, you need to say things like, oh, um, you fight like a cow or something. Great, because you look like a milkmaid or something. Uh, You know, uh, and I mean, that could be a novel aspect of the game if it was done better. I mean, like to me, all of the insults and retorts should have been available at the get-go, and then you sort of just use your own little your own cleverness and your own mental nuances to figure out which ones you would use at the specific time. Because to be honest, some of them are pretty obvious, and again, they get so old after you see them 20, 30, 40, 50 times, because you're always fighting the same guys and they could just use the same damn retorts, and you just it it was such a colossal pain in the ass, right? So, I mean, that's that's my one of my major complaints with the game is that, like, it basically drags the game to a halt. And to me, to develop a game that you want people to play, you don't make it long for the sake of it being long, right? I mean, if the game takes 3 hours to beat, then the game takes 3 hours to beat. If it was entertaining, then you've succeeded. You've entertained your customer, and they're gonna come back to you, right? But I mean, if you pollute it with all of this monotonous, repetitive bullshit, I mean, a lot of people just get sick of it and might even stop playing, right? Which I mean, I'm just like, of course, I have the motivation to finish it for my barren, desolate YouTube channel. But so yeah, that's one of my main complaints there. And just again, the pacing of the game is kind of slow. I mean, people talk a lot. It's very text-based. They talk a lot. A lot of the times it's entertaining, but a lot of the times, especially like talking to that Stan guy to get the boat and everything, like fuck, shut the fuck up, honestly. Like, I mean, you have like 4, 5, 6 different boats. I mean, it's like they're bullshit. They're all just there for scenery, right? I mean, it's not important. You don't need to ask them about them, right? Unless you're a fully 100% completionist idiot. But whatever. But so, at the end of the day, I certainly liked the what the Secret of Monkey Island was trying to be, which I said it pretty much delivered on. It was an entertaining little romp. I liked the meta humor. I liked the self-referential humor. The sort of, I learned a lot through all this. What did you learn? Never pay more than $20 for a game. I mean, it makes you smile. It's like even if it just draws a smile across your face, then it did its job and everything, right? Uh, Again, like as I said, I would say more ambient noise, more music, and all the different screens. Uh, I guess I couldn't expect a whole lot from the graphics capability of what was the Sega CD's hardware. But no, you know what? I think Lucasfilm, well, they obviously hit a mark with consumers with this game, because it had become at least back in the day, a very successful franchise. So I guess, to be honest, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I'm just thinking about all these different things, and yeah, just the quirkiness of the game. Once you figured out what to do, you can say, "Oh, okay, I see what they did there." But so yeah, uh, that's the secret of Monkey Island. Those are pretty much all my thoughts on there. So thank you to the ghosts who listen to me on my barren, desolate YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Skwatter out.